Return to Glory podcast, August 14th. Hunter Zarbernicki, Austin, Rose, Dakota, free tag. And since we've last recorded, we've got some big news for the fake Oklahoma fan in the podcast for Dakota. John Mateer gets busted with some Venmo transactions, some potential gambling on his, maybe not his own games, but college games from a couple of years ago. Dak, is Oklahoma season over?
I think he's totally fine. I don't see how. Okay, he said gambling on the Venmo, but how can you 100% prove that was for gambling?
How can
Dak,
You can on a sports betting website, but you cannot. He says a friendly joke. Okay, then it probably like you cannot 100% prove that it actually was for gambling.
the people investigating him can. The gambling commission literally unless if he was doing it through a bookie, in which case that's a whole different thing.
Dak, you cracked me up with this take, and you said this to me the other day too. You're like, how can you prove that he's doing it when literally in the description it says gambling?
Okay, let me pull up some Venmo receipts here. When you guys Venmo people, do you actually put what you're paying for?
I'm a Matt Rule Venmoer. I only put emojis.
He put BS on there all the time. Okay. 12 days ago, I paid Hunter batch. What did I pay you for a batch or something?
For a
I don't
bachelor
know.
party? Batch?
Yeah, let's see here.
Dak,
No,
I want you to know the current criminal investigation system can definitely find out if you've been gambling on sports.
not if it was like $10 between like friends.
If
Which
it
I
was 10
think
bucks between friends, probably not. You're
I
not
think
wrong.
I think that's probably what it was. Like just a little friendly. I don't think they can prove this. Like it's set. I mean, it's obvious. It's pretty obvious, but you can't 100% prove it.
Dak, do you understand how the court systems work though? Like, not, I mean, it's not going to go to court, obviously, but you don't have to literally, like, it's a lot of times it's beyond without reasonable doubt. Like, is it kind of a court saying thing? It doesn't have to be like overseeing and videoed it.
I don't know, because it'd be a criminal charge, question mark, if you were gambling on sports. I'm trying to remember if it'd be criminal or civil, because what the NCAA will probably do is you suspend him, and then he would sue the NCAA for wrongful suspension, and then it'd be a civil case, which would then go to a jury. I don't know for sure. That's just what I think would happen. And then there's a jury sitting there, and he's like, I didn't bet on sports, and they point to it and it says sports betting. What's the jury? And you have to be beyond reasonable doubt.
Is he going to say, "Oh, I was just it was a joke"?
That's what he
No
would
one on
say.
the jury is gonna buy that.
That's what he's going to say, and you think that's going to win?
I bought it. He hasn't even said that, Dak. He hasn't even come out and said he hasn't bet.
No, he did. He said it was a friendly joke.
A friendly joke.
Like he did not. I can't remember the exact words, but he said something like along the lines. He said he's never gambled on sports, which that's got to be true.
That's gotta be true.
Okay, I'm cutting this conversation off right now.
Fair.
But no, before we do, anyway, he's taking the first snap because NCAA takes 2 years to investigate anything, so he's fine
That's
year.
true. He'll be fine this year.
You might have that. You might have that. But
and I'm getting Texas Roadhouse from Hunter.
I hope for your sake that he's not playing this year.
It won't take 14 days to investigate this.
Okay, Nebraska football. Defensive and special teams preview today. I'll be honest, I think I might be more excited and fired up to talk about special teams. Which normally we quote unquote brush over the special teams piece And our special teams looks like they brushed over their performance over the past few years as well. So maybe
you
we
say
shouldn't.
that, and I was looking at last year's stats, and we only missed 5 field goals. Granted, we stopped taking them at a certain point, but I was like, wow, that's better than I thought. 2 of those were like from the 40 to 49 range. It's like, okay. In my mind, I thought we were, barely a
Horrible.
60% field goal hitter, but we only
And I'm good with starting here because I think it's fresh off the block here. And Mike Eckler had his press conference on Tuesday, spoke to the media. Archie Wilson had a moment as well. I think X job is one of the most excited parts of this year. You want to talk about drinking the Kool-Aid for myself and what I am fired up about, and this press conference just added to it. Like, he is a dude and a football coach. And to me, how I would describe him is a head coach that basically said, I don't want to be a head coach. I'm going to just become a master in special teams. And even though I might have the ability to move up, I don't want to. And I'm just going to become an expert in the field on special teams. And that's kind of what he's done. His task, I think, is very daunting. Now, it is still special teams. It's not like you're revamping an entire offense or things like that. But there are a lot of pieces to fix. And Austin, you mentioned the 5 field goals. There were a lot of things, even last year, that I think that we maybe forgot. Now, some of those things we forgot because they were in games that we won. But like Purdue and Rutgers, I believe we had kicks blocked, 2 punts blocked, maybe a field goal blocked.
yes, yeah.
There was maybe a returned extra point that got blocked. There was the Iowa game where we muffed a punt inside the 5-yard line or something like that. That was rough. Those are just things that come to mind off the top of my head. But again, big mistakes. We didn't punt the ball to the wrong side of the field like we did a few years ago against Michigan State. There weren't as many probably shanked punts in years past, but big mistakes that led us to either put us in position to not have a good chance to win, or like the Iowa game, probably cost us another game on special teams against the Hawkeyes. So they haven't been good, and it's been like that way for a while. The snaps and the holds, like that was an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know that. I believe that things are going to get a lot. Now, it can't get much worse, right? But I believe things are going to get better with Coach Eckler. That's my, I guess, overall take on him. His press conference was just electric. Everything about it. If you didn't get a chance to listen to it, go do it. There's a short version out there that was a couple minutes, but the full one I think is even.
Full one's good.
It's good. Like he is
Fired up,
passionate about his job. And you want to go run through a wall when you listen to him talk.
Yeah, there were times where it's like, okay, you could tell he's got the football, like, and he's like, I've never been to a more disciplined, he comes this, the infrastructure, it's never just a little too much high praise. It's like, all right, heck, dial it back a little bit. Let's not pretend like things were okay last year. Um, yeah, I expect us to be better. I expect most of the improvement to be in the punting area. Not that there isn't an improvement for the field goals, but I just don't know. I feel like there was more room for punting to improve versus field goal unit, which I could be.
Okay. I thought our punting was our best part last year of our special teams. Like the Buschini bombs and Brian Buschini, like he was solid last year. There was not much.
That's true.
There's not much that I was like, oh god, special teams or punting hurt us last year. Now, has it in years past? Absolutely. We've had a lot of shanks and what else? We had a couple blocked last year, but I think the punting side, is the part that I was
I'm thinking
like,
more return wise, I guess.
but return, yes.
Yes.
Returns in general.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't return anything last year. I can't remember what our best return was. I feel
For
like we
years.
had, yeah, exactly. We had a couple of good ones that all get called back due to holding. We haven't had, I mean, our last good return specialist was probably Pearson L, like 7 years ago. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And yeah, so your punt returners this year, it sounds like are going to be Ja'Cory Barney and Andrew Marshall are going to be your two main guys. On the kick return, Eck didn't really mention who's all in that mix, but maybe those guys. Isaiah Mosey might see some time back there.
I did like how he specified what he's looking for in a punt return and a kick return. He's like, punt return guys are, they're the shifty quick, make you miss, but kick return guys, those are you're looking for someone who's just gonna blow it up and just run
Mm-hmm.
blind. So that was interesting statement.
Dak,
The first thing I had down was what you said. This guy needs to be a head coach. I don't know. I don't know why he must just love special teams. I don't know. I've never heard somebody so pumped up about kickers and punters, but um, the one part I got out of it was does did he really like what he said that he liked what he walked into?
Yeah. I don't think he leaves Tennessee if he thinks he's walking into something bad.
I mean, yeah, I guess he knows he's walking into it. Maybe he likes to fix messes, but I don't I don't know. Like you said about the punt returners last year, which just is crazy. Last year, 4.9 yards per return. That's easily the worst part was your punt returning, and that's got to be the best part the part he's going to fix the most. And you're coming in with this Andrew Marshall guy that had 41 yards per return and 2 touchdowns at Idaho, so that should help it.
Which 41 yards per return. Like I saw that stat. I didn't dig deep enough to be like, how many times did he return the ball?
yeah,
Like
it couldn't be much. I get
you
it.
know.
Here's where special teams to me. Here's how you got to look at it. There's two parts of it. One, there's the players and what they're able to do. So what Dak just mentioned and giving a stat from the last year's team, Dak's kind of saying, okay, this guy's better than what we've had. Well, okay, maybe like he could be. I think there's a more. I think we had potential returners on the team in past years. I'll put it that way. So there's the players, and then when you go to your punters and your kickers, I think that matters a lot more. Then the second side of special teams is the scheme and the coaching to it. Now, and I think a lot of that isn't so much. There probably is more. I don't know special teams that well. I don't think most people do. They know it like the common fan, but a lot of it is you're supposed to do your job. But I think the big part of the scheme and the mental side of it is teaching them how to do their job, when to do their job, as far as fielding punts, fielding kicks. We've seen our fair share of fielding kicks inside the 5, inside the 1, like running out of bounds at the 1, Illinois a couple of years ago. Like we've seen that fair share, but it's instilling that the correct way to do special teams into your players, to where one, they're not scared to mess up, but and then they're confident to do their job right, and then execute it. And I think that's a big piece that we've talked about. We've gone all over the board of no, sometimes guys just got to do their job well. That still falls back on your coaches of getting them in the right frame of mind to do that job. So there's two pieces to it. I do think Dak, like Andrew Marshall and people like that, could help. But
So
I think
Andrew
it's
Marshall,
going back to the coach.
I pulled it up. He returned 8 kickoffs for 327 yards. So 8 times for 41 yards per return. That's pretty good.
Okay.
He did
That's not
14,
that much though.
14. No, and I mean, it's not nothing though.
Yeah.
Punt returns, he had 14 punt returns and he averaged 11 yards. So decent numbers. I think it's good.
It was Idaho State, right? Or Idaho?
I think it's just Idaho.
Yep.
The Idaho Vandals. Um, I mean, you talk about players executing. It's good to point out that our whole special teams basically is getting revamped. New long snapper, new punter, new returners.
I
We
mean,
only,
we got a long snapper in the portal. Like,
yep.
and we talked about this when we got him. Kevin Galick, like, it was our first portal get of the off season, and
And
we
we
were
were
so
jazzed.
excited about it. Like, who goes and has to get a long snapper in the portal? We do because it was that
Well,
bad.
and then we went out and we sought out like return specialists. Like, Andrew Marshall, he'll probably start. We'll talk about it on defense, but like I do think there was like, oh, this dude can return the ball. Like we need special teams to kick it up. So I think John Hull is gonna be really the only returning special teams impact player. And even then there's no guarantee that he's starting.
And what's your guys' take on um, players that I lost my train of thought because you mentioned John Hull, and I was got thinking Kyle Cunanan. So Kyle Cunanan is the kicker that is contending John Hull. So we'll go
Mhm.
there. Tristan Albano's the third one, still in the mix. But like, what do you guys think on those guys that mix at the place kicker position? From what I've been hearing, I think it probably could be Cunanan, but it sounds like him and Hull are in still a battle for that spot.
You know, I don't know because like who did Cunanan transfer from last year? Do you remember? Anyone know?
Mm-mm.
I don't either. Um, because like I said, John, he kind of got his footing by the end of the year. He started out a little shaky, but I seem to remember by the end of the year, it's like, okay, I'm not worried about John Hull hitting field goals, and it's tough because you've seen him in games in the Big Ten do it. So I honestly don't know. I don't remember where Kyle came from, but
I think the Ohio State game helped a ton. That just came
oh,
out of nowhere
yep.
and just started drilling 50 yarders.
I mean, yeah, it's sad that Tristan fell to third from starting down to third, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's tough. I feel like that'd be a really hard thing to evaluate in practice, though. It's like, okay, which one of these guys is going to be the best kicker? And if you feel fine, if they're in a competition, it's like, well, you're going to stick with one during the season to the best of your ability, but you might. How quick do you pull a kicker after they miss field goals? Especially if they're in a battle. Like that sounds just like
That's
a.
up to the coach. That's
I
what makes
know.
it fascinating. Like, what is Eckler's approach going to be?
I don't know.
Cunanan spent last year at Cal, did not play, but he played at Charlotte the 2 years before, went 14 and 20 there on field goals. And then he came from before that he was 9 and 15 at where it does not say.
There's no
Oh,
way he played somewhere else other than Charlotte and Cal. He's a redshirt sophomore.
no. What
That's
the?
a, that's,
Oh, and 2024 he went 14 and 20, and then the year before he went 9 and 15 on field goals.
So he did play.
Yeah.
so 2
No.
years.
Last year he didn't play at Cal.
Hmm.
That must have been his redshirt year.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Who knows
But
how the years work anymore?
Now we've made it this far talking special teams. We haven't said the name.
I
The
know.
Mr. Nebraska Cornhusker 2025. Archie Wilson.
Oh man. I know. We've held on this long. Like,
God has kissed his feet. If you ask anyone in the Nebraska program, who's your favorite player? Archie Wilson.
it
Matt
is
Rule's favorite player, Archie Wilson. Eckler's favorite player, Archie Wilson.
from Australia, the Aussie. Uh he sounds like everything and plus that. and more. Like
recruited by Eckler to come to Tennessee, follows him to Nebraska.
yes, like
We
on his
we
radar
we
for a
get
long time.
two punter transfers this last year, and both of them are already gone. Or there was the guy from Montana and then someone else who also transferred out after we recruited them this last year to make room for the Archie Wilson.
Guys, I love it. Like the hype, I love it. It's great. It sounds like here's what I think I love about him the most. I'm not assuming here, but I kind of am. I think he doesn't, I get a vibe that he doesn't quite understand American culture great because he's from Australia. And so he's like, as far as the mental side of things, you're not, he's not going to get caught up in the hype of everything. He's not going to have like a bunch of pressure. He's not like, he's just coming over. He's just this dude that can kick with both feet and roll out and throw and like just I don't know. Like there's so much of them. Like, what is this going to look like? And
People keep going.
Eckler's been, Eckler has been staying up at night with a guy like this since he found him probably 3 or 4 years ago, and wanted to start recruiting him. He's like, okay, this guy, we can do this and this and this and this, and has this list of like new things because again, this guy eats and breathes special teams. So it's not like Eckler has had a guy like this at every stop he's been, right? It's a unique person that he's got. And I think was it Rule called him a weapon, or maybe Eckler just called him a weapon. So
Children
I'm
will
so
go down with
excited.
injury. Who we running out there? We're putting freaking Archie Wilson behind center. The Archie Wilson. My goodness. I'm excited about it. I mean, yeah, I'll slurp a little bit of the Kool-Aid on it, you know. It kicks
I
both
am like
out of
I am.
cannon.
I like why not? Why
But
not?
man, the praise for this man. If he goes out there and just shanks his first punt, that would be just like, can you trust anyone in the building? Honestly, you know, if he goes out there and just shanks it, it's like, oh shit.
And Eckler mentioned he's going to be rolling right, rolling left, having to what do you say? Having to look where guys are coming from with full pads, which it sounds like that's what he was doing at his when Eckler recruited him in this camp or whatever from Australia. Like now he's just adding pads to it. So he's evaluating. Okay, where's the rush? So he's going to be doing the um running and kicking. What's that called? The rugby
Rugby kick.
style. Like
Yeah.
he's going to be doing that with both feet apparently. So
He's never played
that's what's great. I
never
just
played
love
an
the both
American
feet.
football game. Never played in an official American football game.
And who cares? I don't
The
care.
Archie Wilson.
You
What was Archie's last name in the comics? The Archie comics. Is it? It's got to be. I mean, Wilson's like one of the whitest names out there.
you you said Archie's keeping Eckler up at night. I'm not sure Eckler has ever slept once in his life. I mean, that no way that guy's sleeping. He just thinks about special teams 24/7. But I'm a big fan of the rugby style because it comes off your foot way different. Um, and I think it's really hard to pick up a rugby style punt.
Who was the last rugby style punter we had? We
He was
had one.
horrible, wasn't he?
No, we had a good one, didn't we?
I don't
Was it that guy
remember.
that like did half rugby style, half half normal punts?
The only thing with the rugby style kicking that I've been fascinated by over the last few years is it's kind of going away. It was a big thing probably, man, it's probably been 10 years ago was when it kind of got rolled out. And there were, I mean, I'm not going to go maybe say half, but it was close probably to half of the teams were using it. And it almost was like a trend or a fad for a while. And now it's kind of gone. NFL teams don't use it. I think that's just an interesting trend. I don't really have a whole lot of comments on it.
Right. Is that good because it's one of those things like is it going away because it's not as effective or is it just going away because it's harder to find rugby style punters?
Correct. Like I don't know.
Because it's harder to do, you
Right.
know.
And is there a reason the NFL never went to it, or is it if you can find the elite like regular punters, the ones that are NFL caliber, like those guys still the stats and everything are still going to probably because if you can bomb it in the air 60 yards, like I think Archie Wilson can do that too. From what it sounds like, it's not always going to be rugby every single time. It sounds like he's got it all. So I'm intrigued. I'm so fascinated by
pulls
it.
a hammy. Who we running out there? The Archie Wilson. Any position, any day. The ultimate utility tool. Yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, though, if he goes out there and shanks that first punt, it's like everyone in that building's full of shit. I don't want to hear a goddamn word from anyone.
Well, maybe we will
Hey,
never have to punt, guys. Maybe we'll score every
There you go.
possession.
it's on Eckler if he shanks it though, not on Archie.
Right.
It is, and that X said that. Like, it's me. He goes, I want you to write Eck stinks. Like that's what he said. It, so here's the other thing about Eckler too. So was there some egotistical type of comments in there that like I know what I'm doing? Yes, there were, which I will say maybe rightfully so. Now we'll see if what those comments turn into and what perception it is if things don't get better. They should get better, but if they don't and things still continue to struggle, Eckler's been, guys, and we haven't mentioned this, but at a lot of different places. Recently at Tennessee the last 4 years, but he's been the special teams coordinator at North Texas, at Kansas, at Georgia. He began his career as a GA at DAC, Oklahoma, and to LSU. So he's been around the block and done it at a lot of places, and high level places as well. So he does have the experience and the resume. He knows his stuff, and not to mention he's from Nebraska, 91 to 94 as a linebacker. So he's played on some pretty damn good football teams. It's going to be a lot more aggressive, I think, as far as what we see from obviously returns where you can be aggressive and some of those styles. So again, I usually am not a fan of people that kind of boast their past and their accolades, aka Mark Whipple.
In Archie's defense, they were asking him, or not Archie, the Archie Wilson. In Eckler's defense, they were asking him, like,
yes,
what do you bring? What, you talk about how great this program was before you got here. What are you adding to it? So,
correct. So I'll let that slide here for now. Now, if things don't get well, we'll see what happens. But I think, again, excited about Eckler, excited about the special teams this year. It's a big part of the game. Do you go as far and say it's a third of the game? No, probably not. Eckler had some other just great quotes in there about how special teams, it's not like you
don't get three tries.
Three tries before first down. Like you don't on both. You get one try when you try it out there. I love that angle of it. And I love how he said those guys cannot make a mistake. The only mistake they can make is if they aren't busting their butt and going 110 miles an hour. Like that's the only mistake they can make because everything else is on him, which again, I love the ownership and responsibility without anything being done yet.
I mean, Nebraska's won one thing this offseason for sure. And I have not looked up the stats on this, but the longest special teams coach interview of the offseason has to be. What? There's no way any other team had a 20-minute interview with their special teams coach.
I'm sure there's someone out there.
I love it. Love everything about it. Like I said,
don't bring him to Vegas.
A whole podcast about it. Doesn't go to Vegas because he puts all his chips in the table every hand of blackjack. Like just
classic football
classic
coach, like hair on fire, Dan Campbell.
I want to hear him after every game. That's what we want to hear.
Which you might. I feel like he will get interviews after the games.
People love him. All right, let's talk defense. That was like 30 minutes on special teams.
I'm telling you, could do it. Could do the whole thing. Defense. John Butler taking over first year as DC. Was obviously on the staff last year as a defensive assistant. Coming from the Buffalo Bills, was also at Penn State. Has been a DB's coach, has more of that specialty. I think the NFL knowledge can be good and bad. Transferring, I shouldn't say bad, but there's going to be pros and cons to transferring that over as a full scheme. Now we're retaining the 3-3-5. There's going to be our own, like John Butler's own twists on it with a lot of these guys. I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess, with this defense right now. It obviously was very good last year. I think a big key, all the talks on the offense, how much better it's going to be, special teams. Like, I think the one thing that we need to make sure doesn't happen is our defense falls from what it was last year. I'm not going to say it's going to be as good, but it
won't
needs
be
to stay in the ballpark of where it's been. And
not
if we
top
do
20, but
that,
maybe top 30.
yes, if we do that, we will, I think, like the results of a lot of our games. I think there's no reason we shouldn't be thinking that either with what we have coming back, some of the guys we brought in. I'm just a little bit hesitant on the whole Tony White stuff and how that, I mean, that's been brushed over, that some of the guys that left with him. I'm a little hesitant there with all that, what happened. I think Tony White was a damn good coach, and I think he knew a lot about the 3-3-5 inside and out. And I think he did a great job the time that he was here. So that's my caution here. And I want to see our defense play well, and play with their heads flying around. It sounds like that's the plan, but I'm just not all the way sold here on our defense going into this year.
I mean, sold, no. It's much less known than last year for sure. Like we lost, I was looking at of our 30 sacks last year, 26 and a half of the people, 26 and a half of them are gone by players that are no longer with the program. So we only returned 3.5 sacks from players currently on the roster. Uh, there was a lot off-season wise. I thought it was funny of like the people like, oh man, we got to keep Keona Davis. Like we can't lose Keona Davis. I was like, I didn't even know that dude played last year. Like this is the guy that's gonna like anchor down one of our edges. Same with Riley Van Poppel. Like he got a couple plays in last year, but I don't ever remember being like, oh man, I can't wait to see Van Poppel out there next year, like taking over for Nash. So I agree, it's a little. I mean, at this point, I'm not going to say it has the biggest room to fall back compared to special teams and offense. So I feel that's probably why we're coldest on it, because the offense and special teams can only, I shouldn't say only improve, but they have the most room for improvement. So that's why we're more excited about to talk about those and the impact players there. But we do have a lot of seniors. It is an older team, and I feel like that plays out pretty well in college football. Our Well, I mean, we'll talk specifics, but the defensive backs are all basically seniors that'll be starting, and it was 11 interceptions, 12 interceptions. I don't remember what the exact number was last year, but so they did pretty well. I like that we got some senior transfers because, again, I think just being bigger and stronger on defense, that's fine. You're plugging you into a linebacker. I don't know if you need to be as keyed in on scheme on the defensive side. It's just like, okay, I'm going after the quarterback, or this is the blitz we're running, or I feel like it's pretty standard stuff. So we'll see. I agree, Tony White leaving is scary, but Butler's been doing it for a long time. We have another DC in the defensive backs room. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if I call it a full rebuild because you got so many seniors, but it's a lot of guys that haven't played, but they have a lot of experience, I guess. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting. He's still running that damn 3-3-5. It sounds like.
Don't like it? Question mark.
Nope, I still don't like it.
After the success the last 2 years,
No, and I think
Why? Like explain your opinion here.
I just hate the 3-3-5 because I know it worked the last 2 years. I feel like you have a lot more running room when you have 3 down linemen.
Yeah, but yeah, there's.
I mean, it worked the last 2 years, so you know what? It works this year. I'll never say it again that it sucks. But I
Dak,
don't.
you do okay, and I get the concern. That's the very like fourth grade overview of the 3-3-5.
Wow.
It is like
You're gonna take
I
that,
think
Dak?
that's what our analysis was when we just put in the 3-3-5. Like that's what we thought and what the opinion was, that it's more vulnerable to the run. But I think what we've learned over the past couple of years here in Nebraska, but also just other teams in the country running the 3-3-5, is that it's very flexible.
The 3-3-5 is just the backbone.
It's the
I feel
backbone.
like
It's the
more of the time
frame.
it's 4 linemen
It's
ish.
4 linemen, bring 2 linebackers down. You put it's you are able to mold it into what you want. So yeah, and that's what Tony White did such a great job of, was doing that on teams that were run heavy. Like we stopped the run very well, and including Ohio State, like who tried to just pound it down our throats, and we held our own there for a lot of that game last year, who then went on to win a national champ. So continue, Dak. Sorry to call you a fourth grader, but sometimes we think you are.
I didn't say that, Dak. You're at least a 5th grade level to me.
Well, Hunter, you're second grade level to me. Anyway,
Got me.
I just think, was that Tony White that was like, it'll be interesting to see how if the new DC can, I lost his name. I cannot think of it. Anyway,
Butler.
Butler can run 3-3-5 as much schematically well as Tony White did. I think a lot of it had to do with Tony White. He ran it very well. And I think you bring down the linebacker, I guess, yeah, that does give you more versatility in the pass rush. I just don't like 3-3-5. I'd rather have 4 down linemen.
Which again, you can have 4 down linemen if you want in the 3-3-5.
Every time 4 down linemen.
And you can if you want. The position coaches here, Phil Simpson's our outside linebackers coach in his first year. Terry Braden, the defensive line coach, coming from the Chiefs in his first year. Addison Williams, the defensive backs coach, and also his first season coming from UCF. Phil Snow, forgot to mention him. He's acting as the associate head coach, but his primary focus is going to be on the defense as well. All these guys are new, I guess. I mean, they're all in their first year. So again,
the only returning defensive position head coach is linebackers, correct? Dorvacek?
Correct. Yep. So yeah, I don't think I mentioned him. So I do think that, again, hesitation wise, a lot of newer guys, but these guys all have experience, not like they're fresh at the block of doing a lot of their jobs. Getting into the players a little bit more. So Austin mentioned a couple at the top. Here's how I think of our defense this year, and every year with a 3-3-5, I'm moving more towards that. You can really dive down into what the position's called if you wanted to. To me, that doesn't mean a whole lot. Here's how I think of it. We got 2 guys that are going to be on the line of scrimmage all the time. Maybe 3, maybe 4, but 2 main guys are Van Poppel, Keona Davis. Like those guys are bigger dudes. Those are your Nashes and your Ties from last year. Guys that are going to be run stoppers and pass rushers in passing downs.
Probably throw Elijah Judy into that group.
And throw maybe Judy in there as well. Like, my big take on Van Poppel is he could be, I'm really high on him. I think he was just behind 2 really damn good players last year.
He does look good. I totally agree. I just say that because people are talking like he's like, oh man, and
I think he has potential. Now he's only a sophomore, and keep in mind, like Ty Robinson, it wasn't like it's a sophomore. Ty Robinson was Ty Robinson. No. It took him I mean, by the time he finally was a senior, he was like, oh boy, this is Ty Robinson. So keep that in mind too. But I do think that those guys, I think the D line is a little bit of the hesitation from a lot of people's standpoint because they're maybe younger than the rest of our team. I think they're going to be.
They are. I mean,
and they are. I think it's going to be. We're going to be pleasantly surprised. I think with our D line. I hope.
I guess it depends on what your expectations are. Is what leads to being pleasantly surprised, right?
Correct.
And we're not. I know we're not going to be like last year. I don't think we're going to be as disrupted. I don't think we're going to be as good against the run. People I'm most interested in. I guess I don't want to interrupt your flow. You're talking. You have your 2-3 guys, so I don't want to.
Yes. So I'm starting there. Dak, you got anything on the D line before I move on?
No, I just thought. I mean, Van Papa didn't play that much, but I thought you saw in the games he did play when he was in, and I think he's probably your most impact player on the D line.
Yeah, I hope there's a development with him too.
I mean, Jalen George is probably the only other guy you could probably mention in that position, the transfer from Georgia State.
Yep. He's another one that he's probably going to see some snaps there as well. I think there's a lot of guys probably that will forget that'll see snaps because I do think we're going to be very aggressive and I think we're going to sub a lot. We're going to see a lot of different guys play. So then I'm going to go complete opposite and go to the back end. I think you're going to see guys that are never going to play in the box or very rarely unless they're on a random DB blitz. And those are going to be more your corners. Maybe you can throw some safeties in there, but Malcolm Hartzog, Sierra Wright, Amari Sanders are going to be Andrew Marshall, another one. Donovan Jones, a freshman. Maybe we'll see some time. Those are your corners, your safeties, Marquise Buford, Deshaun Singleton. All of these guys in the back end are experienced. They're veterans. They're guys that have played a lot of snaps. They're names that we've heard even in Nebraska. I think this is the position everybody feels good about. And I also think it's the hardest position, one of the hardest, but maybe besides quarterback in football, is defending a lot of these receivers. Good news is we don't have to play Ohio State that has 5 of them this year. I do think in the Big Ten.
You say that, but we held them to.
Correct. And they did a damn good job last year.
Yeah.
So on the back end, I think we have a lot of talent and experience. We have a lot of speed. I think we should match up well with some teams. Again, it's just putting it all together. I think we have the players. It's putting it all together as a unit.
Last year we had 11 interceptions. When was the last time you could say we had that?
Great point.
And like you said, Hartzog, senior, Wright, senior, Buford, senior, Singleton, senior, Marshall, senior. Oh, sorry, junior, transferred junior. So, I mean, it's an old crew. Hopefully they can keep up. Just kidding. They're still
which I think a secondary is probably what you want the most experience, like senior wise, most experience position on defense you would like to have.
It's definitely, it requires probably the most nuanced techniques. Like, it's like, oh, I can see where they're shifting their body weight, so I know where I need to go. Whereas when you get closer to the quarterback, it's like, I'm just trying to get to the quarterback however I need to.
It takes time to figure out how to play the secondary, I think, in college more. So that,
I agree. If you're rolling out a freshman or a sophomore in the secondary, you're a lot more worried and concerned than if you're rolling out a freshman or sophomore in the interior 7, 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's going to be a very solid group. Out of the 3, I would say probably the most confident in your secondary.
I probably agree with that.
Yeah.
The new coordinator, I can't remember his name. Where was he the DC at? UCF, right?
Yeah, Addison Williams.
2 years ago, they led the nation in fewest passing yards allowed or something like that.
Yep.
So, I mean, and then you have John Butler, whose experiences in secondary. So it's probably a well-coached unit as well.
Agreed. So then last we have all these guys that are in the middle and all these linebacker positions, and then even throw some guys down at the edge. We haven't mentioned Cam Lenhart and Williams and Wary. Like those two guys are probably going to play on the line more. But they also have the ability, I think, to move some around, and while they probably will be in the line a lot, all these positions to me are very, very interchangeable. And you're going to see guys playing a ton of different spots. Now, you're really diving deep into the 3-3-5 and the scheme of it, as all the players and coaches will know that they have their roles and spots, and they would say, no, that's bullshit. We know exactly. Well, yes, but to the average fan watching, it's going to look like they're all kind of doing kind of the same thing. And these guys are mentioning here Vincent Shavers, who just became a single digit number, Marquise Watson Trent, and Desam McCullough both transferring in. Javin Wright also playing a lot last year. Again, these are some of these guys are very veteran guys and have played a lot of snaps. I mentioned you mentioned Elijah Judy earlier. Willis McGahee, maybe we'll see maybe something from him. And then even those safeties, those guys get rolled down and sometimes as well. So all of these players, did I miss anybody?
I don't think so.
Dawson Merritt, a freshman, who apparently has looked good so far. I think you're going to see a lot of moving
McGahee, did you
pieces.
mention McGahee?
McGahee, Jacob Dower, all of these guys to me are what makes the 3-3-5 special and flexible to the opposing team's offense. And what we think and we've heard is going to happen from John Butler's defense is going to be even more aggressive, more crazy than what Tony White had in a year ago. And Tony White upped that from even years past as far as the blitzes and selling out on passing downs, on run downs, sometimes more vulnerable to big plays, but at the same time making big plays of your own. And Austin, you mentioned forcing more turnovers. That was something that was a big priority going into last year, and we did a pretty damn good job of it. So
I mean, would
I'm
you say that
excited for this group.
would you say this is our deepest group? They might not have the top talent. I think, if you were to look at it, the secondary probably has the best top end talent, but it's not very deep. But this group might be middle of the pack as far as talent wise, but the deepest group.
Yes. I think that's a fair way of saying there's just a lot of guys there that we don't know who's going to be seeing the snaps, which.
But there's also a lot of guys that you feel good about seeing snaps.
Correct. Usually you go, okay, that means either they're very equal, but I don't think we have a bunch of average defenders. Like I think we have some pretty good talent here. It's putting it all together in the scheme, and again, you got to trust the experience of John Butler and what he has coached in the past, and his ability to navigate a defense maybe that he's not always ran in 3-3-5 that Dak just absolutely hates. Just putting it all together into a unit, I think, is the question that we need to see happen before anybody says, yep, this defense hasn't lost a beat from last year.
It's worth pointing out Javin Wright, Shavers, and Riley Van Poppel, the 3 single digits so far on the defensive side.
Yeah, this is a position you want to be the most deep in. I don't. You think Lenhart's gonna be on the line mostly?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say because I think he's gonna be very good this year. Yeah, I don't. We're talking about secondaries. You're the most satisfied with, or I think linebackers are the. You have a lot of depth here, but not very confident in going into the year in this position. Out of the 3, I would say.
Yeah, probably.
And just because two of the guys that
Are new.
Vincent Shavers, guys, I think is going to play a lot. I mean, you got single
Vintage
digit numbers.
Shavers and McGahee, I think you're gonna see a
Yeah,
lot. Same with
two of
Javin
the
Wright.
guys are new, right? They're transfers in, and we're trying kind of putting a little bit of trust in Oklahoma, which is always a bad idea. So like that, that's probably why Dak, you're pretty hesitant on him.
I mean, on the defensive side, we kind of did this on offense, but what player are you most excited to watch or see what happens? Is it Riley Van Poppel?
Are you
Yeah,
counting special teams in this?
No, I'm talking just defense.
for me, it's Van Poppel or Keona Davis. Like I excited, but also like probably higher expectations than most people, even though they're both sophomores. I'm excited to watch those two. I don't think we're going to be taking as big of a fall off at that position that people think from Nash and Ty.
I feel like
I'm
that's
most
going
excited for Cam Linhart. I think he's an animal.
okay. I mean, the one I'm most interested by is Williams Nwaneri. Nwaneri? Is that how you pronounce it?
Winery.
Nwaneri? But that's just because that's just a pure speculation. Why did it not work out in Missouri? I'm interested in why a
And
five-star
we
guy.
paid him the dollars, and he's
And we
only a
paid him
freshman.
the dollars.
Only a freshman. The other guy
Yeah,
that
watch his Venmos.
we mentioned on the special teams part is Andrew Marshall, who, I think he's going to play.
He'll start.
He's probably going to start. He's going to be in there a lot. I remembered my point. I lost my train of thought on earlier. What's your guys' take on starters playing on special teams versus playing all non-starters? That's what I was going to ask, which I know is back into special
I'm
teams.
fine playing your best players all the time, your most athletic guys. That's specifically for returning the ball. Now, I don't want my starters out there, necessarily always, blocking punts or kickers, but I want my best players out on the field as much as possible.
I'm not big on having your best players return kicks and punts because there's a lot of room, or that's just more place for injury that could happen. Because did Amir return a lot of kicks?
He returned a fair amount.
Yes. Dak, I think that's what you just said. I think is a little bit of what I think of a problem of perception. If you start, this is not just Nebraska football, this is in general. If you start getting worried about injuries and not playing your best guys because you're afraid they're going to get hurt, you're playing scared. To me, that's your now. There's a fine line. I get that, but you can't be not playing guys because they might get hurt. Well,
there's a difference between putting them in a reckless position and
yes,
putting them in a well-coached, and anymore, there's so many fair catches and, kicks through the end zone that they're just out there that they deter them from kicking it as best as they could.
Here's to me why you balance the starters with the non-starters and special teams. I'm with you, Austin. I think you need your best players in the field. And part of me wants to just say, you know what? Screw it. I don't care if they're all starting on the offense or defense. Put your best guys out there everywhere on every unit because you want your best players in the field. Like that's one way of looking at it. Why I don't think you can do that and why I think you need these other guys in there, maybe your younger guys. There is a perception and a mental side of your entire team, your entire group that you want guys to earn their spots on special teams to then hopefully get their confidence and their playing time on the field, all of that building so that maybe in a year or two, they can then be playing on the defense or might find their way. A lot of these guys are defensive guys, but offense as a receiver. Like you want guys' confidence to build by starting them on special teams. Okay, they've seen the field now for 7 or 8 snaps a game as a freshman. And you take a little pride in becoming the special teams guy that gets to go out there on kickoff and fly on the field and make a tackle. Now you got to do that without being reckless, but I think that's why you play young guys because you make them feel part of the team, and guys can get really good at just like Mike Eckler has specialized in special teams. like these guys that maybe aren't on the starting unit on defense or offense, they can specialize this year on special teams and become really good, better than throwing out a random guy like the Son McCullough, who, you know what, maybe if he's spending time away from his position and focusing on special teams, he's going to lose a little bit of his oomph on defense. So that's why I think you balance it. Now, which way's right? I don't know. Eckler at Tennessee did almost all non-starters. I think he probably had a little more depth at Tennessee than he did in Nebraska. Just speaking at a high level, I don't know that for sure, but I think that maybe is why. So that's why I think you balance it. Yeah, there's give and take there on what you do on special teams.
What unit? Now that we've talked all three, what unit do you think we're going to spend the most time talking about this year from a negative aspect?
Negative aspect.
Defense, offense, special teams.
Offense.
I think so too. If you were to rank, the top 10 players on the team from all positions, goes Archie, then Dylan, and then probably 6 defense and maybe another 2 offense. Danke and Ja'Cory, or Danke and Emmett maybe slip in there.
That might be a little bit because you're naturally going to talk about offense, but in perspective, like I'm blindly trusting Mike Eckler. I would say in years past, based on the amount of time that they spend on the field to what we talk about on special teams, has been leading that category in the negative field.
Yeah, I mean, you're just not. There are so few opportunities for the special teams to really blow a game. The last couple of years we've found those.
Nebraska's
and we've done it.
Right. And so we trust Eckler to at least get us back to neutral. And last year we trended towards neutral. I mean, our punting, the actual punting was decent. By the end of the year, the field goal kicking was decent. It was the return game where we were struggling and some blocked stuff that we were struggling, but we can probably clean those up. I probably think that's going to be offense. I think defense is going to be fine.
I think it will be offense, but there's definitely a shot. If our special team sucks, we will be talking about that the most.
I can't believe it. I just can't. Archie Wilson back there. Come on, son.
Yeah, let's. Is he? So who's your most special teams defense combined? Your most excited player?
It's Archie.
Oh, yeah. Archie Wilson. It's not even. It's not even a question.
Who are the player you're most excited for on the Nebraska football team in 2025? Could it be the freaking punter? It might be. If you look online, it might be. Him or Danke seems to be what everyone.
Yeah.
That's all everyone wants to talk about.
Oh, Archie. And this is great. You can hype this guy up, and like I said earlier, I don't think it's gonna phase him. Which makes it even better. I just think he's Archie.
We also, I do want to point out, he's not a single digit yet. He will be a single digit by the end of his tenure at Nebraska.
Here's another great part, guys. When you think of punters and kickers and everything, like what number? You think of guys probably like in the 30s and guys in the 90s, right? Like those are your numbers. He's an 83. Like
I don't care. Give me an
Terrence Nunn, baby. Like he's like, I'm going to be 83.
Your new kicker is 98, I think.
The whatever his name is again.
Correct. Yep.
He looks a little chunky. I'm just gonna say that.
I guess this roster's got him at 91, but I don't know. I could give a shit less if your kicker's chunky. I don't care. The guy from Missouri a couple of years ago, he could boot him from 70 yards, and he was chunky. It's not like you got to be athletic. The only thing is if your kick gets blocked, you're definitely not chasing him down. But
right, there's not any fake kick runs with those guys. Other single digits, I guess. Janarian Bonner, Danke, and Ja'Cory, number 2. So that leaves
receivers.
All receivers.
Yeah, I guess backing to your point on the unit and what you're concerned, I just don't see us getting into 45, 42 shootouts.
I don't either.
Mainly not because I don't think our offense can do it. I just don't think our defense is going to give up 40, 30 plus, 40 plus consistently. Now, could it happen a couple of games?
We're not.
So that's why I'm like, I feel okay about our defense. Like our offense, as we have in the past couple of years, just freaking find a way to score 3 or 4 touchdowns. Get us to
and you look at the schedule.
30.
We're not playing Oregon's. We're not playing Ohio State.
Yeah, I was going to say that
Penn
has a lot to do with
State,
your schedule.
Iowa, Michigan, grinded out running teams. So, I mean, if there are times where we're going to be frustrated in the defense, but we're not going to, like, yeah, I agree. We're not going to be giving up 40 points a game, hopefully. No more.
Yeah, if we lose a game 45 to 42, we'll be talking about our defense in a very negative way. There will be very few negative offensive comments.
Yes.
I mean,
in that situation.
I mean, your best shot at having a shootout is your first game of the year, I feel like.
Maybe. I think Cincinnati is going to try to slow it down in my mind. We'll talk about Cincinnati in a couple of weeks, but I think they're going to run the ball and try to keep it low scoring, but I agree. I think our offense could explode. Like, why not? Okay.
What other Husker news you got? Is that it?
That's it.
Defense, 2 weeks from today, kickoff.
What?
That's
2 weeks from today, kickoff.
2 weeks?
The boys will be in KC. First time meeting.
That's true.
Okay, first time for Austin and Dak.
First time for me.
I have met both of them several times.
Yeah, Hunter, yeah. That's true. I've never met Dak in person.
Austin's been hiding from me for 3 years.
I have. Dak's like, hey, you want to come to my birthday party? He's like, no way in hell.
Good decision.
all it took was the Cincinnati, Nebraska game.
All it took was Cincinnati. All we had to go was 3 hours away.
Okay, we'll be back next week. Go Big Red.
GBR.
Go Big Red.